Hi, my name's Kyle. Welcome to ifisave.com. I'm going to go over the app real quick and just kind of give you an overview of what we do and what we're about. Um, the general idea here is that most people um, kind of have an idea of where the money goes, but don't know exactly what's going on. What you owe, what you own, what retirement actually looks like for you. These are things that you really need to know, and you need to have your finger on the pulse about. So what we've done is we've built an application here that will help you kind of keep track, help you be intentional about your spending, and help you know where you stand towards retirement. So when you first load the app, you come to this overview page. The overview is just that. It's an overview. It gives you a snapshot of kind of where you are towards your budget, how much money you have everywhere, your even your properties, right? Um, One of the important pages, though, is your budgets page. The budgets page kind of gives you a view of how your spending is going for the month. We use a rolling window in the budget page that gives you the last 30 days of transactions. So you know kind of how you're doing kind of throughout the last 30 days. So um, when we look here, we have the ability to kind of see some big ticket items like your mortgage might be a big ticket item, some just general high view kind of things here on the first little pane. We see our income, we see expenses. And then the expenses are all categorized by budget. We have categories for transactions. Those categories are added to budgets. You can just drag and drop here. You can add a category. Um, you can update a category for a transaction, adding a new one or moving it around there. Um, so they're just it's easy to navigate, easy to update. Um, when you set a transaction, different a specific transaction to a category, the application learns from that, and in the future, the merchant and the description will go towards making sure that gets in the right category. So give it a couple months, but you should be able to stop categorizing things after a while. When you start syncing things with Plaid to automatically pull data from your cards and your checking account and things like that, um, it will automatically update this budget. You'll see the difference, the change in your outcomes or your standing, and you'll be able to drive through things a lot easier. But you will still occasionally see things you have to categorize. One other feature in our budget is that, or one other thing that we really kind of annoyed us, or a couple of us, when we were going through and budgeting, is that if you go to the grocery store, sometimes you buy something that's not groceries. Costco is a good example of that. Walmart, Sam's. You go and you spend $200 on things, and maybe $100 of it is groceries, right? And then you have another $100 that you might have spent on something like a sleeping bag or something crazy, right? Um, when you do that, most apps don't give you a way to split that up, but we give you the ability to split a transaction. You can choose the categories you want, however many you want. Say you go to something like Walmart, you can get automotive stuff, you can get sleeping bags, you can get whatever it might be, right? Groceries. So you put all the different categories here, you add the amounts, you get them to where they add up, and then you hit save, and it splits all those categories. And when it does that, it gives you the split, and it takes that towards the balance of your budget, and then the other one will show up in the other part of the split, right? So that was one thing we added here that I think is a good value add. Um, and another thing is like when you have a credit card payment, that credit card payment is not really a transaction that you want to track. You can exclude it from your budget just by not adding it to a budget, right? Tran Transfers within a bank are the same way. So this just gives you a way to kind of just see what you want to see in the budgets. Um, Next, we have the month at a glance. Now, this is for people that really kind of want to see, I'm talking about this month. What did I spend this month, right? So this gives you a kind of how much money you have left to spend during the month based on your history of how much you make, right? So it tells you kind of when to expect your next paycheck. It tells you how much you've spent, how much you have left, what day you're on, you know, and then recurring transactions that happen every month, and it'll highlight all those things within the expenses so far toward in the month, right? So this is a good way for you to kind of see, hey, I'm spending a lot of money that's recurring on like Netflix or, whatever it might be. So this is a good page for that. Uh, and then long-term goals. We have long-term goals. We have you need to have an emergency fund, whether it be while you're trying to pay off debt, whether it be smaller or once you get to the point where you've got all your debt paid off, to where it's 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So this is one of your goals here. It's a default goal. Home renovation and vacations, whatever you might be for a long-term goal. You can set that goal. It'll tell you how much from today. If you if you set it yesterday and it's something that is 3 months away, it'll tell you how much every month you need to contribute every month to get there. And you can even set up a budget that will that will track how well you're doing towards that and link an account. So with my bank, I set up like 10 different sub savings accounts. Each of those accounts is tracking towards a goal. And I can track that goal by linking that one savings account to this goal. And now I can track it and it'll automatically track it for me. So that's the long-term goals. Next, we have debt. Debt is something that we oftentimes have to take care of. Again, our focus is having an emergency fund so we don't have to go into debt. That's the first goal. And then we have our debts, right? This will show us an overview of our debts. It'll give you, if you punch in a value here, it'll give you kind of a percentage. Um, on the APR side, it'll give you kind of how long it will take you to pay it off. If you're really serious about paying it off, you can set up a plan. The plan, if you have multiple different cards or debts that you have to pay, the plan can either be an avalanche plan where it maximizes the interest paid or minimizes the interest paid. Um, you set your goal and it tells you how long you'll be you'll be paying off each debt. Snowballs, the opposite. You pay the smallest balance first, or not the opposite, but smallest balance first. Take care of the small ones, and then you build momentum as you go. And you that's kind of a Dave Ramsey thing, right? But it is a psychologically a good way to go about doing it, and it does help you make progress fast because your amount you can pay towards debts increases as you go because you're paying off debt. Um, anyway, so that's the debt payoff plan. And of course, it all goes back to budgets because you can also set a budget for paying down debt, right? Next, we get into investments. The investment screen gives you kind of a really a good chart here that shows you how you're doing towards your investments. You can compare it towards the different market indexes and even a rate of return, right? This person is making a really good rate of return. This demo person. Um, so anyway, that's that. It tells you where your balances are, what kind of allocation you have towards your or in different kind of investment accounts, and then your totals in a chart. So that's the investments. You can actually import a balance history so that this chart gets fully fleshed out. When you first load it, if you're syncing with the app, it will only show you the data that you've gotten that day. I mean, the day you start syncing. So if you want to build out the history, you can go to your bank, you can copy, or your institution, you can copy the table with your mouse. Just hover over. I mean, just select and copy that table, save it to a file, copy the file. Upload the file here, select an account it goes to. Boom, it'll update your history and you'll see the full graph there. You can also do everything on this page manually if you want and you don't want to pay the subscription because, of course, it costs money for us to be able to provide that service. So, well, we're having to pass that along. Um, and anyway, so you can do everything you want, everything that's possible manually. So this is how you would do that on this page. Retirement. So we use Monte Carlo to analyze your retirement and to see where you are and how close, how well you're doing towards your goal of retiring. You can set your goals. Say you want to have a retirement age of 57. You can set that goal here. You can tell it how long you think you're going to live, what your annual income is, your annual expenses, and how much you think you want to spend in retirement. All this data, Social Security, your pension, what your savings rate is, what your employer matches, what you want to pull in the end, how much you think you're going to make in returns while you're working and then while you're retired, because those might be different if you balance your portfolio differently. It pulls all of the investment data, all your investment values over from the previous pages, um, from your accounts. And then you can do things with this, right? So now you have kind of a baseline. You can change it around and see where you land. Anything over 75 is going to say is good. If it's under 75, say I want to retire at 50, um, I'll rerun this calculation and it's going to say, oh, that's not a very good idea. I would work a little longer, right? So we'll update it and see where we get. Okay, so 57%, right? Well, let's go over here and say, what if I worked a little bit longer, right? How would that affect my Monte Carlo? So if I come here, I can see, well, if I worked 2 more years, I'd get to an 85 on my Monte Carlo analysis. So I'd only run out of money if we were in the really worst market, right? Um, Otherwise, I pretty much would have money until I'm 88, right? Um, Again, you might change the date, how long you'll think you'll live too, right? But and if you really want to be more safe, the longer you work, maybe the more safe you'll be. But at some point, you'll decide what how safe you want to be. Another thing that you can do is you can analyze your Social Security. Again, you can go to mysocialsecurity.com, copy your table, paste it in a file, and upload it here, and it'll automatically parse it and give you all your data. You can tell it how old you are now, much longer you want to work, and your retirement age, and it'll kind of try to um, calculate based on how much you've made the last 10 years and your future earning annual income. So you play with this. The closer you get towards retirement, the better the numbers will come out. But you can calculate your estimated benefit at this point, though, and it'll tell you kind of what it looks like if you take it at 62 versus 70, um, you know, and how that breakdown works. So uh, if you invest that money, you really should make what Social Security kind of makes and what they're giving you in the end. But that is completely up to you. This is just data for you to see, right? And make your own choices. Um, and then we can set our retirement defaults. So if we have defaults that we want to we want to save every time, that retirement page basically loads the defaults, and then you can kind of modify it and see what you wanted to do. But when you go away and come back, it resets the defaults. So, and then the last thing on this page is the Roth conversion analysis. So this one is kind of interesting. It's mostly interesting to people that have a ton of IRAs and traditional 401ks, and want to think about doing some conversions to see if they can optimize their taxes and maybe end up with a better outcome in the end, right? So this is for them to do that. It takes a lot of data, takes a lot of information into account, and tries to give you the best numbers. So, um, and that's something for you to look at and investigate further. Um, this my recording thing is on top of my menu up there. Um, anyway, so next is properties. Properties, it allows you to add investment properties. The investment properties are actually added to your Monte Carlo analysis because they're actually, you can sell them and use that money. Your personal property is not included in the Monte Carlo analysis, just because uh, it's where you live. So you can't necessarily sell it. You can, but you don't necessarily want to sell it, right? So you can add valuations and keep track of your valuation history for all of these properties. And then on the same page, you have your mortgage analysis. So say you're going to buy a new house for $400,000. Your rate's going to be 7%, and you're going to buy it this year, 30-year mortgage, and um, you want to add $500 a month to the payment. Um, Please enter a valid start. Okay. So, um, so we've got that now, and we can look and see how much paying an extra $500 a month for the first what did I say, for the first 10 months helps. And in this case, it reduces your final um, interest to by 22 or $32,000. So that could be helpful, or maybe a little bit more. So yeah. So that can be helpful for you. It can help you pay it off a little earlier. It'll tell you how much earlier you'd be paying it off. Um, and then, you know, how paying things down early in a mortgage is more helpful than maybe paying it down towards the end. And if you have a low interest rate, how much or little will it actually matter in the end? So, but this is a useful tool. Trend analysis. So this is this is where you can kind of come to see, okay, where am I going wrong? Red boxes is going to tell you things you might want to improve. Green tells you where you're doing well, and black means, I guess, keep going, right? And it also gives you some of that overview data we saw on the first page. Um, the blog will be a place where we'll let you know if there's new functionality. We'll have some entries about you know financial planning type behaviors, things to think about, strategies to think about, and just different things we come up with as we go. Um, and speaking of uh, the the blog here, we have a new feature called Share Your Finances. And basically, what that is it's a way for you to share your all of this data with someone else. So, in most cases, that would be a spouse. You could also share with a financial advisor. Your parents could be on this app, and they could share with you. So you might be able to help them through, things as they get older, and help them and be able to know where their money is and things for estate planning and things. But you enter your email. Again, they have to use we use Gmail for our login, so everyone has their own account. We don't want to be sharing Gmails, and this gives you a way to basically two or more people to see the data, right? So you enter the email, you put a label of what that little um, shared button will look like up here, and then you get a link, and you send them that link. They log in, and then they open that link. They then accept the share, and now they can see your data. You have the ability to give them permissions to do things on that page and see things. So it's up to you what you want them to see and what you want them to be able to do. All the bank accounts being added has to be done on by the primary account, though. Um, that's just a way for us to maintain that one account. That data integrity. Um, okay, so let me see what else. The ability to add accounts via Plaid allows us to be able to auto sync to to your institutions. This does cost money, so we do charge a subscription fee. It's $8 a month, or $80 right now. If you're watching this video later, maybe it changes. I don't know. But it is expensive to do this, and to host the site, and to do all the other things. So we have to pass that all along to the user. We have a contact us feature. you can create messages, and when we respond, you basically have a little chat app here where you can talk back and forth with us. You can look at your subscription, cancel it, or whatever. Update your retirement configuration, update your budgets, categories and your budgets if you want. Um, and if at the very end you decide you don't like the app, you don't want to do it anymore, you don't have to worry. You click delete, you type delete, and we delete everything. If you want to come back, just be aware that when you come back, you'll have to add everything back. You won't have any of your history, you don't have any of your data because we delete everything. You, you are dead to us. um, anyway, it is a complete wipe. We don't have any of your data. We don't sell your data. We don't use your data for research. We don't do anything like that. Um, uh, just if you want to delete it, though, it's all gone. So anyway, that's the app. I hope this is helpful to some people. I hope this is something that will help you reach your goals, your financial goals. I hope that it's something that will help you be able to talk with your spouse over things and work out what your um, where you want to be in retirement, and help you feel confident that you can get there, and just um, uh, have a handle on your finances. Because if you don't know where things are going, if you're not intentional about where you're spending your money, it will go away and you won't know why or where. Um, so good luck, and thanks for watching.